My name's Niran.
My name is Pepper, and welcome to the AOR Talkshow.
Here we go.
So, hello everybody, and welcome to AOR Talkshow number 9 after another break week between the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Between the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and the Japanese Grand Prix due to the real-life Canadian Grand Prix. I wish we didn't have the break week because it was not worth it, really, in my opinion. But that's a subject for another time. We are here to discuss. I don't exactly know the most appropriate adjective for the race, but good's definitely not one of them.
It was, I don't really know what word I can use to describe the Abu Dhabi race, in all honesty. Usually we say, I tell you what, if you haven't watched the race, go and check it out. Is there actually any point watching the race?
If you have any consideration for your brain, I'd probably suggest not.
If you like watching sprint mode, because it was a lot like sprint mode, then you probably might enjoy it. But the results that you'll see at the end are absolutely nothing like the unofficial results that we'll have. But we'll get on to that a little bit later, because at the moment I'm sure you're very confused as to why we're talking about it in such a negative light. But you will understand. It was the seventh round of the season, wasn't it? The 7th round of the season. So we're getting towards the second half of the season, and we've ended the first half of the season with, I don't know, what, a bang, a shambles, I don't know what really you can call it, but yeah. A bad bang, one of those negative bangs that you get. So it was all looking good in qualifying, realistically, wasn't it? That was just normal. Well, slightly. Some
irregularities, but nothing compared to the race, let's be honest. But we had a debut pole for Mazais. First pole for the Ferrari team since India last season with James. Callum falls in second, with Pepper only getting 29,000 behind, and Shane another 93,000 behind Pepper. So a very close qualifying there from the two Williams and the second Ferrari, which was nice, especially not seeing a Williams on the pole position spot this time.
Yeah, for once.
Brown got 5th, followed by Jordan 6th. Dan with a very bad qualifying. I mean, lots of mistakes, only getting 7th. Jamie making his debut for Caterham in 8th. Philip in 9th, which was the last man to set a lap, as Valissa failed to complete one due to mistakes as well. In terms of the qualifying, if we kind of forget the irregularities, it was setting up to be a great race. I mean, the Ferraris and the Williams all between each other, the Mercedes on the top 5, Dan obviously needing to do a recovery race, but the lap one kind of changed the scenario.
Yeah, we had like a really good shaping up battle in terms of the top 4 from qualifying, as you said, because the Ferraris and Williams looked absolutely, bang equal to each other. And then obviously Dan fighting through, Jamie making his debut, and obviously you don't know what's going to happen there. But yeah, lap 1, from about corner 3, to be honest, the race went wrong until the end, really. We had a bit of an incident at the first of the chicanes on the track, the one just before the hairpin. Pepper tapping the back of, was it Callum in the Williams, I think? Yeah. And then as a domino reaction, he hit the leader at the time, which was Mazais. Mazais spun, Callum was forced to go across the chicane. Apart from that, it was fairly clean. I think there was actually a spin for Jamie in the Caterham at lap 1 as well. At turn 1. On his debut, which isn't exactly ideal. Your first corner in AOR and you've been taken out. But I mean, it got better for him, put it that way. But anyway, yes, we had that incident at the start. We then later on had, literally at the hairpin, just after the chicane, Pepper and Shane came together again with some help from Brown in the Mercedes. There was then more contact between the two Mercs, so Brown and Philip, who'd managed to avoid the carnage until that point. Along with Sevalista, who was up in 3rd in the Lotus, which sort of just shows how crazy. I think did he start 10th, having not set a lap time, and by I think turn 4 or turn 5 he was up in 3rd place. It was an astonishing first lap for him. Later on in the lap, there was an incident or coming together between Jordan, the second of the Lotuses, and Dan, who was trying to recover in the Red Bull, and that didn't exactly go to plan. He was doing good until then, but then obviously had that incident. And then more contact between Pepper and Shane to end off the lap, to end off a basically sprint mode looking lap. There was corner cutting, there was lots of incidents, and it was a bit of a shambles, but it did mess up the order quite a lot. So I suppose if you like crashes, then go ahead and check it out. But it was a little bit too much, probably.
Yeah, you can always go and if you enjoy it, just do a crash compilation. I'm sure you have plenty.
It's a crash compilation all on its own. Just get some music up on a different tab, and you've got a crash compilation, basically.
But yeah, Mazais luckily managed to keep his lead ahead of Callum, and obviously a very strong start from Savalis in 3rd, which, I mean, he actually managed to keep up with the top 2 until the first stop, which was, I mean, personally, I didn't quite expect Savalis to be up there. Obviously, maybe if Shane and Peppa didn't have those incidents at the start, maybe it would be looking a bit different, but nevertheless, I think Savalis kind of deserves the compliment because he did a good job until then. Jamie managed to keep out of trouble as well. Luckily for him, Jordan obviously getting a penalty with the crash with Dan on lap 1. But from then on, Pep and Shane were basically at the end of the field. The other 2 Ferrari and Williams at the front, and there wasn't really that much action during the race.
No, I mean, I suppose the Ferrari of Pepper and the Williams of Shane, they did manage to recover by the end, but yeah, you're right, there wasn't a massive amount of action. I think we just saw all the action and chaos just condensed into lap 1, and then the rest of the race, there were a few overtakes here and there. Obviously, the 2 back straights are like heaven for overtaking on the Abu Dhabi track, but probably not as much as we expected. That probably, though, was because of the fact that we had the accidents at the start. A lot of the field was blown up. In terms of, you had Mazais and Callum at the front, and they were just away. Then you had Sevelister and Brown, and they were just sort of there. And then eventually Pepper and Shane caught them, but the rest of the field was sort of static and quite spaced out because of the first lap accidents.
Yeah, and it didn't quite work out because obviously, if there was going to be a fight, looking at the qualifying, you would expect it would be between the 2 Williams and the 2 Ferraris. Now, obviously, there was a bit of a fight between Mazes and Callum, especially on the second stint. But obviously, at the back, on the other Williams and Ferrari, it was a bit weird because what happened was Shane, obviously due to incidents, had his tires in a bit of a worse state. So he pitted lap 3, and then because of Mazes, Pepper was forced to go to lap 5, which put him even further back when he comes out of the pit. So the 2 always having to do recoveries after each stop, which, let's be honest, didn't really help to the action of the race because they were pretty spread out when, especially Pepper because he was pitting later, for them to fight. Other than that, Brown managed to caught up with Savalesa at one point and overtaking him. Obviously, we had the contact between Mazes and Callum at the end of the second straight, which was unlucky, but more unlucky than that was Callum disconnecting again. But it seems that it worked just fine for him, as you'll see in a bit. But apart from that, I mean, we had an interesting last stint though. With Pepper and Shane, really, I mean, they were pushing the whole race long to just go there. And I gotta say, I mean, if there was a good moment in the race, I think, was those last 3 laps.
Yeah.
With Pepper, Shane, and Brown fighting for second place, with surprisingly Pepper overtaking Shane on a probably if you watched it, I don't know. Lee said it was not exactly the best place to overtake because you have the two straights after, and I mean, the whole spot wasn't ideal, but a very risky move. But I don't know if you agree, but probably like a good move for P3, and then the next lap, Brown obviously running out of tires as well, losing the position to Pepper for second. So it was looking great for a Ferrari on 2. And guess what happened after?
Yes, there was a lot of change. So Mazais obviously had the win in the bag after Callum disconnected again after being in a fight for the lead with a Ferrari. It was Pepper in Australia, and now it's Mazais. Pepper managed to get his way through past Brown. Brown managed to hold off Shane until the end. Mazais took his maiden win. Or so he thought. Pepper came second for a Ferrari 1-2, or as they thought, and then it was Brown and Shane third and fourth, with someone in fifth. I can't remember who it actually was. Sevelister in fifth, which was a great result for him at the time in the Lotus. He showed really good pace all the way through the race, really, but mainly in that first stint. But then all of the top 5 got disqualified. Yep, that's correct. You heard me correctly. The whole top 5 got disqualified for the same reason, and that was track limits. So corner cutting, track extending, etc. Abu Dhabi is a track where it's very easy, if you like, to corner cut in a sense that it's obviously not on purpose, but because there's not really any bollards anywhere apart from that hairpin, and you've not got any grass on the inside or on the outside anywhere, or any gravel or anything, it's very easy to just sort of meander out wide or slightly cut a corner every now and again, and it happens so often during the race for Mazais, for Pepper, for Shane, for Brown, then Shane, and also Sevelister as well, that all of the top 5 were disqualified from the race. And guess who that left to win the race?
Mr. Debut man Jamie on the Caterham. I mean,
you can't make it up realistically,
no.
Can you? You can't make it up. The top 5 finish in the top 5, whoop-de-doo, and then they all get disqualified. And the kid who's making his debut in a Caterham wins that's Caterham's second win of the season.
In a row.
Unofficially, yeah. Second in a row, isn't it? Because obviously Vettel won in Britain. But, yes.
Well, at least we have an excuse for our failed predictions this time.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't know if I predicted Jamie to do well, but I'm guessing not. I should have done. That would have been a fairy tale, but anyway. Obviously, the results that we are talking about are unofficial as we commentate. They haven't actually been officially decided by the stewards, although we think that's how it's going to go down. That's how it's going to pan out. Hence why although the table may actually be updated by the point you're looking at it. But that's how we think it's going to go down. Jamie, who won in the Caterham, the only other man who finished the race not to get disqualified for track limit related issues, was Jordan in the Lotus, although he did get a penalty obviously for the coming together with Dan on lap 1. So we literally had 2 finishes for the race, and they were both the new drivers, both the drivers that have had their debuts in the last 2 races even, being Jamie in the Caterham, then Jordan in the Lotus, and then Callum, who had probably by this point thought it's all over, given he disconnected from second place, ends up taking third place. Technically he was not disqualified, he only disconnected, so he ended up taking third, despite not actually finishing the race. So there's only 3 point scorers for the whole race, as beyond Mazais, Pepper, Shane Brown and Sevelister, Philip was also disqualified as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you thought Indianapolis 2005 was bad, just we have a new record, ladies and gentlemen.
Dear me.
But
dear me.
Yeah, it was at the same time a race to forget, but also a race to remember for those who sometimes don't take the track limits too seriously. Obviously, this is not what we want to say, so I mean, nevertheless, I think Abu Dhabi is probably the end of the tracks you can really, where track limits would be an issue. So at least that's a positive for the second half of the season. but yeah, it was not exactly the best way of finishing the first part of the season, but it's the way it goes. Sometimes bad things happened, but if everyone learns with it and improves with it, I think sometimes these situations are necessary. But forgetting Abu Dhabi, I don't want to remember that race anymore.
It's in the past now.
Because now we're entering the second half of the season, and I think we couldn't really pick a better track to do so.
Yeah, everybody loves Suzuka, let's be honest. The Japanese Grand Prix is the next one on the calendar. If you don't know by now already, the calendar was obviously randomised at the start of the season, hence why Abu Dhabi was number 7 on the calendar. Japan, or Suzuka, is race number 8, the figure of 8 style track, and
that's a perfect combination.
It's a classic. Oh my god, that's amazing. We didn't even think about that. That's incredible. It's a figure of 8 track and it's round number 8. Oh my god. I think it was fixed.
Script.
I think the draw was fixed. That's incredible. Anyway, that's not the point. But that is amazing. That is actually so cool. But yeah, Suzuka is next. A bit of a direct contrast, really, to the likes of Abu Dhabi. You've got grass and gravel everywhere, and it's a lot faster as a track than Abu Dhabi, a lot more flowing as well. So it's going to be a completely different challenge to what everyone faced, which was evidently, a very challenging challenge for a lot of the drivers in Abu Dhabi. But yeah, Suzuka up next.
Yeah, and we're going to let you go through a hot lap now on the Suzuka International Racing Course. Anyway, now it's time for a more in-depth look of the track. Obviously, 18 turns, a very technical track, especially that first sector, composed by 7 corners. Obviously, the Dunlop curb at the end, pretty much at the end, going a left corner, very long, going up to Degno 1 and 2, turns 8 and 9. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see a lot of overtakes on the first sector, if they don't happen at turn 1 and 2, obviously.
Yeah, it's a very much single file sector, really, and as you said, literally, unless there's a overtake going into the first turn, there's probably, like, down the DRS straight, down the home straight, then there's probably not going to be much overtaking there. Turns 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 are basically single file, left, right, left. So they're lovely corners and they're a massive challenge, but you're very unlikely to see any sort of overtaking there unless the tyres are really going off for someone.
And even overtaking at turn 1, you don't quite overtake at turn 1. You probably should be done with the overtake down in the straight, because turn 1 is flat, and then it's a lot sharper right turn for turn 2. So I mean, we've seen in real life some crazy overtakes, like Raikkonen around the outside of Fisichella in 2005, Hamilton around the outside of Rosberg in 2014. But I'm not sure if our drivers have the same confidence with each other to try something like that.
If anyone manages that, then they're definitely getting a medal from the talk show. We'll send it them in the post. Because that, I mean, around the outside of turn 1 is a ridiculous move to be able to pull off. You want to ideally be getting the deal done down the home straight. Otherwise, you're in serious jeopardy of having a massive accident at turns 1 or potentially turn 2. Maybe it'd be one of those where you get your nose up the inside down into turn 1 and then complete the move through turn 2, but mainly down the home straight, really.
Yeah, and then if you fail to do an overtake, probably the second spot to do an overtake on is probably to the hairpin. I mean, after Degno 2, going under the tunnel, going through a right kink and then to a very sharp turn 11 at the hairpin. It's a very complex braking zone because it's very easy to lock up as you're going up, and the corner has a bit of a banked zone, so we can see a lot of drivers missing the corner and going to the gravel, which would be a big issue. But despite being hard, do you think we'll see a lot of overtakes there?
It makes it very difficult because it's not a straight entry into the corner. I remember Kamui Kobayashi doing this a lot when he was driving for Sauber. I think he pulled it off like 3 times in one race. If you're close enough going through Degna 1 and Degna 2, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be able to try and send one up the inside, but it would be quite difficult. But I'm sure you'll see 1 or 2 people trying that move, maybe even pulling it off at some point during the race.
Yeah, hopefully they're successful without sending anyone to Narnia.
But let's hope so. Well.
After turn 11, obviously the long turn 12 before the legendary spoon curve, turn 13 and 14. Very easy to go wide at the first part. I wouldn't recommend going wide at the second part, as there's gravel waiting for you there. But a long straight until probably the most legendary corner of the track. 130. Another overtaking point, maybe, if you have a good exit out of the spoon curve. It's a very long straight, obviously. If you can use all the DRS available to try and get a move, again, probably before the corner would be advisable.
Yeah, imagine making an overtake through 130R. Jesus Christ. I think that's probably the best opportunity to make an overtake, because the slipstream from Spoon Curve to 130R, from what I can remember, is extremely overpowered. Obviously, you've got to get the exit right from Spoon Curve, because that's a very difficult corner, and that might make it even more of a frequent opportunity for people to overtake, because maybe the person in front of them has got a terrible exit or something because they've missed the apex. But if you're going to do that, certainly get the deal done before 130R. If you're going to leave it till after that, try into the chicane for turns 16, 17 and 18.
Yeah, our last overtaking spot of the track. Obviously, I mean, we're talking, but you can overtake wherever you want, depending.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you want to send one of the inside through turn 6, then I mean that's absolutely fine. But in the first sector, but I highly doubt it'll work, to be honest.
Yeah, if you want to take a challenge and maybe get some content for Ryan L83 overtakes of the week, go ahead.
Yeah,
but
round the outside at Degna 2, that's your challenge.
Well, that's a bit.
Is that even possible? I don't think that's actually possible.
I never saw anything like that. Maybe.
Surely you'd have to be around the outside through Degna 1 in the first place.
Yeah, Degna 2.
Make it happen. Someone make it happen.
Around the outside of Degna 2. Jesus.
Jeez.
But anyway, the last chicane, as Niran said, 16, 17 and 18. Very easy to lock up again, and very easy to go wide, because it's a very hard braking point. Very, very hard braking point, yeah. But obviously you need to get a very good traction, obviously, for the second longest straight. I mean, I think the straight after the spoon is longer than the start finish straight, but nevertheless very important to get good traction either if you're defending or attacking, going for turn 1. But that's basically, I mean, it's a lovely track. I mean, even if you don't like it, I'm sure it will give us an amazing race, especially if for some stupid reason we have rain. That will be...
That would spice things up a bit.
That will be a lovely first sector, that's what I tell you.
Oh, dear me. Yeah, that would... It's a track that you don't necessarily have to like driving, but you've got to admire it, and I would admire anyone who can keep it on the track through the first sector if it starts raining. Oh, dear God.
Yeah, it won't be easy, but yeah, basically that's our very in-depth, if you want to call it, track analysis. Now, obviously, a bit of a preview to what we can expect from the Japanese Grand Prix, and for that we shall start with our fact section, and our first fact says that Season 8 was the only time every driver who started a race finished it. Okay, that's not very good, but the following part is even worse, with an average of 3 DNFs in the remaining times raced at Suzuka.
That's quite a lot. I would like to think a lot of those are disconnections, but I mean, it's a hard track. It is a hard track, so we're expecting maybe a DNF, but 3 being the average, and only 1 season that we have on record where we've actually had everyone finish is it's not the greatest of omens, to be honest, especially after the race that we just had.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, fact number 2 then. There was only 1 wet session at Suzuka so far, that being in Season 5, where the race was held in wet conditions. So the odds really aren't stacked up in our favour in terms of getting a bit of spicy rain here and there in the race, but or maybe in qualifying even. But you never know. Japan isn't a track that's completely invincible towards wet conditions, so you could see a little bit here and there.
I mean, technically in real life, it's not like Silverstone, but it's a bit like Interlagos, maybe.
Yeah, there's been a lot of rain there in the past. I mean, Fuji, even when we had Fuji.
Well, that was not rain, that was monsoon.
That was a tornado, wasn't it? Jesus. But yeah, there's been a lot of rain in the history of Japanese Grand Prix, so... Maybe
they can surprise us. Come on, Cody's.
Hey, you never know. Cody's, do it for us.
Now, going through fact number 3, from what's on record, only once the pole sitter managed to win the race, with that happening last year, where Iceman and the Lotus did the double, so pole position and win. I mean, I would say, unlike Spa, the first sector is relatively easy to maintain the first place, but with 2 long straights, I don't know. I would expect more pole sitters to win the race, to be honest.
Yeah, I would expect that, to be honest. I suppose it's the rest of the lap that you've got to worry for holding on for dear life to the lead. But yeah, the first sector, I would imagine, is probably one of the easiest first sectors on the calendar to keep hold of the lead, as long as you get a good start, maybe apart from Monaco. Because apart from literally someone going up the inside, I can't remember how the grid slots are organised, but apart from someone going around the outside or up the inside into turn 1, assuming you've had a bad start, there's basically nowhere for you to lose the lead until the hairpin. But hey, anyway, I'm sure someone will find a way. Fact number 4 then, Force India and McLaren both have 2 wins at Suzuka, while Dark PSI is the only driver to have won the Japanese GP twice. The other teams that won in Suzuka have been Lotus and Sauber. So only one person's managed to win this Grand Prix twice. I suppose that's a general theme that we've had along with a lot of the facts, is that there's not many drivers who have managed to achieve, certainly more than 2 wins, and not many have managed to achieve more than 1 at a certain track.
Yeah, but once again, the teams dominating this track, let's say, not on Season 11. No,
again, yeah, that's the point. Force India and McLaren again. Though, to be fair, we hadn't had Force India in the facts whatsoever before Silverstone. But yeah, Force India, it's always McLaren though. McLaren always seem to be there.
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
Why did we pick the wrong teams?
I know, and it's a British team as well, to go along with the ridiculous amount of British drivers that we have.
Yeah, but nevertheless, going to fact number 5. Wow, this is a surprise. Germany is a country with more wins at
Oh my
the
God.
Japanese track with 3.
Wow.
So Dark PSI obviously German with 2,
Yeah.
but there was another German to win at Suzuka. But nevertheless, it's followed by Spain, Denmark, and England with 1. So England still, I mean,
They're still there. They're still there, causing a ruckus. But I think that's the first time we've actually had an other nation, apart from England, be the one that's won the most.
Yeah, I think
This
so.
is unprecedented. I'd like to make a complaint as an English citizen that we're not dominating in Japan as well. Something's clearly going wrong there.
Please, I just hope it continues like this, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe. You never know. Maybe this is the sign. This is the start of the end of English domination.
Second half of the season, no more British.
Exactly, that's it.
Yes.
It's going to be Latvian, Portuguese, German, Argentinian
Yeah.
dominated, and maybe a bit of Dutch. Who knows? Anyway, fact number 6. In every season run with the 2013 cars, the best result for Williams has been 8th place, with the other 2 seasons' best result being 9th and 12th. 12th! Like, no points! Not even a car in the points. I mean, that is a bit of a disaster. Williams surely will end that run, surely. Today, or no, not today. When like the next race, obviously.
Sunday.
Sunday. That's the one. That's the day. Surely you'd expect one of Shane or Callum to be able to beat 8th place, but I don't know. Maybe it's an omen. It's not a very good track, clearly, for Williams at all.
I wouldn't mind. No, just 8th and 9th.
Well, I wonder why.
It's
I wonder
fine.
why you wouldn't mind.
It's fine. 8th and 9th. Fine.
8th and 9th.
Can
That's
get
fine.
that.
I'd say it would spice up the championship an absolute treat. So if you're watching Callum and Shane, make it happen, please.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Now, hold on to this because this is a long one.
Oh dear! Oh
Fact
God, I've just
number
seen it.
7. Season 9 saw the most diversified grid at Suzuka for nationalities. 4. Jesus, I can't even count how many nationalities there are. It's
A lot,
Denmark,
like-
Spain, England, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Australia, Germany, Sweden, Portugal, and Austria, making an appearance, with England being the only nationality putting more than one driver on the grid, but they only put 2, so that's not much of a difference. But,
11 different nationalities.
I mean,
11 out of a 12-man grid. How does that even happen? How does that actually even happen? I didn't even know there's been a New Zealand driver in this league. Or an Austrian, for that matter. But there you go. Flipping 11 nationalities. That is a very good fact. 11 nationalities in Season 9 at Suzuka. Wow.
I mean, England, get wrecked.
Yeah, get a grip. Even though we still had the most, but whatever. Even when there's 11 nationalities on the grid, England still has the highest number.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Not too bad
Anyway.
though, because they didn't win anyway. So
Goodness sake, clearly not enough drivers. They needed to sort it out. No gap from pole to second has been lower than 0.2 seconds. However, the shortest race finish gap between first and second was almost 0.2 of a second, just 6 thousandths underneath 0.2 of a second in Season 5. That's fact number 8. So, the smallest gap between the race winner and second is smaller than the smallest gap between pole and second in qualifying. How does that even work?
I don't know.
That's a stunner of a fact. That's interesting because usually we have very close qualifyings. I know it's quite a long track, to be fair, at Suzuka. The lap time is a lot longer than some of the other tracks. I assume that'll probably be a fact, or something like that will be a fact when we get to Spa at the end of the season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I love that one. I like that one.
I mean, Season 5 obviously was the season where it rained on the race, but that makes it even weirder.
Yeah.
That's the 0.2 at the finish line.
I can imagine it. A traction battle coming out the final corner.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just no one being able to get any traction, spinning up the tyres massively, and beautiful.
Anyway, penultimate fact of this section: Suzuka in Season 10 saw the first time a full 16-man grid started the Japanese race with 12 finishing it. So, fair enough, we had 16 started. sadly we didn't have the 16 finishing it.
Yeah, we've already heard that the average DNF counter is 3 at Japan, and for that race it was 4. It's clearly a war of attrition in comparison to some of the other tracks in Suzuka, but yeah, nice to see 16 starting the grid, starting the race. Sorry, for season 10.
Yeah,
that's always quite cool.
Hopefully this season we have all 14.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
That'd be nice. Well, anyway, the final fact then, fact number 10 for this Japanese Grand Prix. The season 11 Japanese Grand Prix will see the biggest amount of drivers not taking part in the qualifying session, with a total of 7 drivers being forced to stay out of qualifying due to penalties. And this is a link to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, obviously, isn't it? With the amount of disqualifications we had, plus Dan rage quitting, we have a large amount of quali bans for Suzuka.
Yeah, 7. So basically half of the grid is taken down for the qualifying session.
That's a minimum.
I mean,
so obviously if certain people don't come who didn't have the quali ban, then it's over half of the grid that won't even be able to take part. Which is astonishing. I think the only people who took part in Abu Dhabi that don't have a quali ban are, of course, Callum, Jordan, and Jamie, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then obviously the people who didn't take part in Abu Dhabi, which is Vettel,
Prost, Hammer
Prost,
Time, and Professional.
Hammer Time. Yeah. So all of those have a chance. It's going to be it's likely to be Callum on pole, but we could, you never know, have a very, very mixed up grid for that one.
I mean, obviously, if you don't know, obviously, at the quali ban, you're forced to don't leave the garage. You can't leave the garage. So what it does is put the cars in order of the the selection order. So it's Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, etc. So what we'll we'll see, we know for sure, is Dan will start 8th at the worst position.
At the worst.
Pepper and Mazais. And all of the so basically, Shane will start last.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah, Shane will actually
play a massive part on the race.
So we could have a Williams at the front and a Williams at the back. We could actually have Callum on pole and Shane last. Oh my word!
But the most interesting part is obviously Callum now will be leading the championship, and Shane says this is probably one of his worst tracks. So
it's all playing into Callum's hands at the moment.
I mean, it will be a very interesting race to see what Shane does, and obviously the 2 Ferraris and Dan, who will be starting at the second half of the field.
Yeah.
With slower cars in front. Well, slower. I mean, they're not exactly slow because we have Hamilton, Prost, Vettel, Professional, Jamie, and Jordan. I mean, I don't know.
Just drivers lower in the championship, but just not necessarily slower, I guess.
And obviously, because these guys are not doing qualifying, there will be so much strategy going on as well. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to be glad about the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Yeah, I can imagine the amount of people that are going to start on primes that get quali bans. It's going to be ridiculous. The strategy, I would assume, is going to be ridiculous to try and keep up with. But the key theme is that very fast drivers and drivers that are high up the championship, 3 of the top 4, are going to be starting at the back. So there is going to be some sort of recovery, like we had in Abu Dhabi, but not because of qualifying, because of the first lap. And that usually creates action, and especially at a track like Suzuka where it's so difficult and just such a nice track to behold, we could be in for a treat here.
I mean, and you're basically, this race will take part like this. You're either very good at overtaking, or you'll have to play with your tires.
Yeah.
So there will be a lot of strategy going on with the tires. We could potentially see the top 7 on options, the other top 7 or the last 7 starting on primes.
Yeah, goodness me, a complete split of the order. That would be interesting. I'd love to see that.
But we can always. But the thing is, we can also see people on the top 7 because they know they will start on the top 7, qualifying on primes, and other guys at the back putting options because they will pit earlier maybe, and there will be able to avoid traffic.
Oh my word!
So,
we
have
me.
We have probably one of the greatest Grand Prix in hand.
Yeah, already, without qualifying even happening, there's the potential for one of the greatest Grand Prix that we've actually ever seen. Oh man, the strategy is going to be incredible. How do you balance that? I might try and put this to one of the drivers, but you've got to balance the pros and cons of starting at the back and starting on the options, either pitting early and being out of traffic, or starting on the primes and just going longer and trying to see if the overcut works and having the options at the end of the race when everyone else is on primes. It's going to be very interesting to see how everyone plays it out.
Because, as you probably saw on the track analysis, the last year's winning strategy was option prime, so a 3-stop, using 3 sets of primes. But because some, either they might be better on the tyre, or simply because they want to qualifying, they can do more laps, we could see maybe a 2-stop coming up.
Yeah.
Or maybe if it rains during the race.
Oh dear God, no.
The possibilities for this race
are endless.
I mean, you want an advice? Don't miss the race. Like, cancel every meetings or cancel everything. 8 p.m.
Don't watch the Euros. Do not watch the Euros, okay? This is going to be better than there hasn't been a game at the Euros that's had more than 3 goals. Don't watch the Euros. Watch this race. This is going to be incredible. And if it rains, then just Lord help us all. I think if it rains halfway through, if it rains at the start, that sort of cancels the.
But the rain can run out mid-race.
Oh, that's a point. Oh dear God, it just doesn't end, does it? Basically, I think that the key point is just do not miss the race, because it's going to be incredible. Whether it's dry or it's wet or it's changeable, whatever happens, it's going to be a stonker of a race.
I mean, we have 4 drivers on the top 5 starting on the second half of the grid. We have Callum who wants to win and extend his gap, and we have the other drivers trying to make their stand on the championship.
Callum's under pressure though as well. Callum has a look because he knows this is like this is an opportunity that he cannot afford to not take, because Shane's all his title rivals, literally all of them, are starting at the back, and assuming that he's at least in the top 3. I would probably assume that he'll start the top 3 at least, if not probably on pole. He needs to then really get as many points as he can. If he wins the race, then he's got a massive chance of opening up quite a big lead.
This is just...
The pressure's high for him.
Yeah.
The pressure's off for everyone else, because it's just damage limitation. Just go out there, try and make as many overtakes as you can, whatever. It can't be worse than what you've got in qualifying. It can't be worse than what you've been dealt with in qualifying for the likes of Shane, Dan, Pepper, Mazais. So anything really is a bonus at all.
Yeah, the thing is, due to so much pressure for Callum, we could see possibly a new winner. Because obviously we have the 2 Saubers very fast who haven't won yet.
Yeah.
And they will start, I would say, on the top 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'd say both of them will probably be in the front 2 rows.
I mean...
I would have thought.
Yeah, just... You can't miss it. I mean, I'm getting so excited. I'm just thinking, wait, we need to do the predictions, but I don't want to because I don't know. This will be insane.
I think we should we'll do the predictions, but knowing our luck, this will be the one time where we get them all right. When we can't predict anything whatsoever, this will be the time we get it right. Qualifying is probably a bit of a easier.
Yeah, I think we'll both really vote for Callum.
Yeah, but as far as the race is concerned, I've got not a flipping clue at all, in the slightest.
Oh man.
Alright, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna stick my neck out. I'm gonna go first. Pole, as we discussed, probably gonna be Callum. Realistically, in an uneventful race, Callum should win. But it's going to be an eventful. It's going to be an eventful race. Like, we know that. So, I am gonna say this guy that I always seem to predict, and then he disconnects. and then he disconnects. But I'm going to go for Prost to win the race. Check me out, Prost to win in the Sauber. Callum to take second, because I think Prost has very good pace. Whenever we've seen him drive, he's had very good pace, apart from when it was wet in Austin. And even then, he had okay pace. It was all right. It wasn't amazing, but apart from that, when we've seen him race, all the races he's finished, he's done very well. So I'm going to go for him to win. I'm going to go for Callum to come second, and I'm going to go for a recovery drive from Mazais to take third. Boom shakalaka. Mic drop. I'm out. That's it. I'm not in. That's it. I'm done for the talk show completely.
Yeah.
A bit. No, I'm not really. But that's
Never
my
left me
prediction.
alone. No.
I've deserted you after the mic drop of dreams.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's a
that's
very. I mean, to be fair, I can't even criticize that prediction because, as we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes, probably, it's just the possibilities are endless. So for the win, I mean, obviously, Paul Callum. I would be very surprised if he doesn't take the chance. For the win, I think. Well, he came second last year behind Iceman, so I would say probably Callum to win as well. Second place, Vettel.
Wow, that's a bit out there as well, isn't it?
Third place, I want to put a Ferrari or a Red Bull on the podium, but
Oh god, I completely forgot about Dan.
I mean, Dan will be the first of the
Comeback
non-qualifiers.
Yeah.
So, well, I went to Pepper to in Abu Dhabi, so I'll go Dan third this time around.
Okay, alright.
Because obviously,
Dear God.
we must remind you we're recording this on a Tuesday, so no practice has been taken so far, so we have no idea what the pace of the drivers is.
Yeah.
So
And we also don't know who's actually going to race as well, which could be quite vital, but...
well, technically, the drivers are supposed to alert the coordinators, so no one has done that so far, and let's be honest, unless there's really something important, those who don't have a qualifying ban, why would you want to miss it? Like,
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
perfect opportunity.
You have been gifted at least 7th, at the worst. And, I mean, a very good chance of a top 3 on the grid, or top 4. So, yeah, there's no reason for anyone to miss this. Drivers or spectators.
Yeah, I mean, Fizzy, you're invited as well.
Fizzy, if you're watching, you need to watch as well, mate. You need to sit down,
I mean,
share it on Twitter.
if there's one race, I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling this will be
The one.
the race
The
of the
one.
season.
The race of the season.
I really think
I
so.
think we shouldn't hype it up too much just in case, but I do think this is probably going to be the race of the season. I don't see any reason for it not to be.
I mean, we as really professional commentators, we're not hyping anything, but
Oh no, definitely not. No.
but you should be hyped.
Yeah, yes.
Definitely.
We're not hyped,
No,
obviously.
no.
Not all, definitely not. But we urge you to be hyped if you're not already, because this one is going to be good, and you can watch it on Sunday at 8 o'clock, I do believe.
Yes, on James'
live
channel.
stream
Obviously,
for it.
we might, hopefully, if everything goes all right, we have the press conference with Niren at 7.
Yeah,
1
technical
hour.
difficulties and organisational skills have let us down so far.
Yeah.
But,
And I do believe we already have a lineup for the press conference,
yeah.
which is
It is indeed Shane, it is Jamie, and it is Callum.
So-
Shane has said he wants to rant about the stewards. Callum for his probably rant about disconnection and still somehow getting on the podium. And then obviously Jamie for getting a debut win on his debut. So that in itself is going to be one not to miss as well.
yeah.
I don't think.
It will be a very interesting press conference with the 2 Williams and the Caterham driver at 7, and obviously we will build up the race at 8, which you can see live streamed on James' channel. again, I mean, I can't stop saying this. Don't miss it.
Don't miss the damn race, for goodness sake.
Just,
it's going to be mega.
Just
it's going to be mega.
write down on a book or on your phone or whatever.
An alarm.
Yeah, just
a reminder. Anything. A note. Anything. Text yourself, for crying out loud. Just do anything, whatever it takes.
Just write on your forehead when you go to the mirror, you'll see it.
AOR PS3 tonight. Yeah, do that.
But
do that.
yeah, before we wrapped up this very hyped talk show,
yeah.
A bit more good news. Korea will not host the season finale of Season 11 here in AOR PlayStation 3. Instead, we have the glorious Spa-Francorchamps circuit. So, Korea will move to the 12th race of the season after, I do believe, Monaco. So, obviously, no, not Monaco. It's the one. It's the one. It's after the race
Malaysia.
after Monaco.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's Malaysia splits Monaco and Belgium. Well, did split Monaco and Belgium.
So, if you are excited to see his season finale at Spa, make sure you write it down again. I mean, just write it down. All
write
the
everything
tracks,
down.
just all the races. Write it down. Every Sundays we are not supposed to have any more break weeks, so we have a great second half in our hands. Obviously, the championship is not that much decided between the two Williams even. So, I mean, do you need any more reasons to watch the races? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so at all. It's going to be an absolute classic in Suzuka. The finale's in Spa, which is just the greatest thing there could ever be. Make it happen in real life. It's just, the hype is real. The hype is real.
Yeah. So if you are hyped as much as we are and you enjoyed the talk show with a very brand new layout, so I hope you enjoyed that one too. But if you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe for more talk shows, and obviously go subscribe to Niran as well. Either his FIFA channel if you prefer that, or FNG Racing, his motorsport channel. But anyway, that's been the talk show, and I'll let Niran wrap it up. I just can't contain my hype.
Honestly, I'm just as hyped as I've ever been for anything. But yeah, once again, make sure you check out the race, because it's going to be an absolute classic. Honestly, hopefully we're not going to let you down on that one, but it has all the ingredients at least to be an absolute classic. Once again, as Pepper said, if you enjoyed the video, hit the likes button. Leave your predictions in the comments if you want. If you have any, though, this is probably the hardest prediction ever to do in the history of this talk show. But if you want to give it a go, then drop that in the comment section too. Sub to Pepper, sub to me if you want as well. But yeah, from both of us, have a good day and goodbye.